All right, all right, all right. We all set, Bernie? Let's see.
Yeah, we're good. Four people, including myself, are streaming the channel now. Two
Oh,
channels.
nice. Let me bring Tex in.
Oh, yeah. Texas is one of our best CM. He's a huge players.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, all right. Well, welcome to everybody in Carver who's watching. My name is Kid from Compton. I'm director of content and onboarding for the Red Village. I'm a longtime player, been with the game since the start, and I'm just really excited for tonight to just show you guys a little bit about the game. Spend a few minutes talking about the game and how it works, what makes the metaverse brand that TRV is building so awesome, and then show you guys some clips from some of our high stakes tournaments that we've done recently, answer some questions, and just talk about the game and why it's so cool and why you guys should be excited about playing it. We got renting coming soon later this month, and one of the things I was talking to Bernie about is really trying to work with you guys on onboarding so that once we have renting online and you guys have a free to play opportunity to engage with the game, getting you guys as many as you guys onboarded as possible. Um, Really
Appreciate it.
amazing stuff you guys are doing, and I'm excited to show you guys what we've been cooking up, man. Yeah. So you guys got a chance to talk with Lucian in the AMA. Was it in December, right?
Yeah, back in 2 3 weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Oh, so super recently.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the Red Village is the leading dark fantasy brand, and one of the things that a lot of people find when they come into this space, and this is no knock on anyone, but a lot of the games and the brands are cutesy. You got your Axies, who are OGs. They're leaders in the space. They broke the way. You got the crypto unicorns, which actually was my first mint ever in this space a little over a year ago. So we love those things. But when you think about the appetite for Web 2 games, you got to have that core of dark fantasy. The Witcher, God of War, Dead by Daylight. Like those games are some of those games of that genre are some of the top games in the entire industry. And so TRV knew on the onset when they started this project that they wanted to be the dark fantasy brand in the metaverse. And they are well on their way to establishing themselves in as that leader they are already and really securing their foothold there. So the way this game works, and there's a lot to it. There's a really cool AAA game that's currently being developed by Phantom Galaxy Studio, Blowfish Studios. The team announced a really $6.5 million raise led by Animoca about 6 months ago. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but what I want to talk to you about tonight specifically is our tournament mode. So, tournament mode is essentially an auto battler where you take your NFT champions, the playable characters in the game, and you pin them against 7 other battle masters in hand-to-hand combat. A bloody battle that uses the unique immutable stats of your champions pinned against each other. And so we have 2 different bloodlines of champions, our Genesis bloodline and our Mystic bloodline, which represent different mints that we did. This one, remember, as our Genesis mint, and this one in January was our Mystic mint. And every champion is one of 5 classes, so kind of like the old school classes that you would get in a World of Warcraft, so to speak. We have our wizards and our rangers, which are kind of like our glass cannon classes, high strength and low defense. Then we have our paladins and barbarians, which are kind of like our balance classes, moderately high in both strength and defense. And then we have our druids, which are like our tank class. And every single class has a unique special attack and a special defense. And what you'll see in our gameplay is these champions kind of fight amongst each other, trading basic attacks, misses, and then special attacks for huge damage or special defenses to mitigate a whole bunch of damage. And then one thing I'll show you as well really quickly is that every player has a barracks. So kind of like you think about like Game of Thrones, everyone kind of has a house or barracks where it's a collection or essentially your team of champions. So you collect champions over time. You build a barracks. You get to name it. You get to actually upload a photo of it. We actually have one community member who's a graphic artist, and if you send him a pure blood champion, he'll actually make you custom branding for your barracks. So this is one he did for me. I sent him one of my champions, and he made like a nice like GIF, a clip, a reel, and like a logo and everything. And so people really, have fun with that and kind of make their own barracks their own with cool names and lore and all that stuff. And so each champion has different stats. Strength is how hard they hit. Defense is how hard they can take damage, how much they can mitigate. And then Omega is just kind of like an X factor stat that has a whole bunch of things wrapped into one. So I want to just kind of jump into some gameplay footage for you guys, so you guys can get a chance to kind of see how everything kind of shakes down. So we have an 8v8 mode where 8 players fight amongst each other, and then we also have a 1v1 mode. And what I want to do is show you guys a clip of gameplay from our recent tournament, which finished a few days ago. And I'll start all the way at the beginning. And one of the great things about the Red Village is that there's community tournaments every week. So you have an opportunity to fight throughout the week and kind of sit and go style tournaments. And then based on that, you can kind of get qualified for these tournaments with huge prize pools. So just to kind of let you know how awesome our community is. So we had this huge week of fighting, and 128 champs could qualify. And one of the battle masters in the Red Village who qualified a bunch of champs, like 13 or something like that, he saw that there are some people who didn't get to qualify. He was like, hey, man, we want to like get people involved. And so what he actually did is he pledged some of his champions to be donated to other players if they won. So if the champion won, he'd give 50% of the winnings to whoever called dibs on that champion. And so what you're going to see here is, so we'll go ahead and play through this finals round. This was a $150 pot, split 70-25 to the winner. And this guy here, Mr. Exotic, who's one of our content creators and streamers, he actually is, I'll play it. Go ahead and get it started. So he's got dibs on this champion right here. And we'll see if he can pull off a dub and get to the finals round and get X a little bit of money. So you see here, we have these 8 champions. The algorithm randomly pairs them up against each other. And
it's random paired up.
Yep. So it's completely random. And then they all duke it out against each other.
Also, is it a year-long tournament or is it weekly?
No, it's weekly. So yeah.
So is it a weekly tournament? So obviously there's tournaments every week.
There's new ones every week. Yeah, exactly.
So is there leaderboards then? Obviously.
Yep, exactly. And we'll actually show that later. So we actually had one of our community members, Skewer, who is a data scientist. He actually created a third-party tool that takes all the API data, all the damages, creates reports for champions, and then we also have leaderboards. So this is actually from a round of a tournament that I organized. And every single week, there's different point values. So maybe we give bonus points to certain champions with certain cosmetic traits, certain specific classes, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's just like sit and goes. It's on demand, just like poker. You log on, you fill in. They start off just like this as soon as you fill, and then based on a weekly leaderboard, we have a finals just like this. And so, every champion has innate stats that you don't know. So whenever a champion is minted, it's not like you can go on OpenSea and see who's strong and who's defensive, so on and so forth. The only way you can understand how strong your champion is by fighting them. And that's really cool because usually what you'll see in games is you'll have playable assets that have the stats kind of already visible. People scoop up the best ones and leave the lesser ones for whoever comes by next. But the only way to understand how good a champion is to fight them. And there's 4 different stances that you can test your champion in. And each champion has one preferred stance that they do much better in compared to the others. And so it's the job of the player to kind of test the different 4 stances and over time try to approximate which is that favorite stance of your champion and then run it in that as much as possible and try to make money both on the daily sit and goes and then also when you qualify for tournaments like this.
Nice.
Yeah. And then as you start to get a feel for your champion and understand, huge volcanic shower from Pledgeholder. So you see it's all random, right? So each champion has different attack special percentages, special defense percentages. There's our wizard there popping off an arcane shield. So now that he pops that special defense, he's going to mitigate a ton of damage from this ranger here. So see, which she would normally do like a 100 or 150. She's only doing 60.
On the technical front, what is this built on Unreal Engine?
No, this is It's escaping me. Not Unreal Engine. It's the
Unity, right?
Unity?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
it Unity?
Yep, exactly.
Unity?
Yep.
Got you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then do you know how many what the frame rate per second is?
I'm
Because
actually
it's
not.
really smooth.
I'm actually not sure. And honestly, it's actually smoother than this L because this was streamed on my setup, which is pretty Papega. But when you actually go on to this, it's actually way smoother than this. So
Yeah,
you'll
it feels
see a
like
bit
it's
of frame
120.
delay. Yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And you used to be able to adjust it, but they took that feature off temporarily while they work on something. But there's a bit of frame lag that you see here, but that's my setup. When you go on your own with a good rig, it's so smooth. It's butter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
And this was ready to go 4 months after Genesis Mint, man. It's not very often that you have a playable, functional game ready to go within 6 months after Genesis Mint, and it was ready to go. I think maybe we had 1 hour of downtime that first month of alpha. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Bioverse.
Yeah, exactly. And it's no shot, right? It takes time to build, but I think. I
think they kind of they bit off more than they could chew in terms of
right,
what they promised to the holders,
right.
and I think it's better to just say, look, incremental. That's what we're doing these things.
We'll get
We're
there.
doing things incrementally, yeah, because in
Right.
that way you don't have to. People aren't anticipating this huge production. It's just like,
Mhm.
hey, in a few months you'll be able to play something. In a couple of months you'll be able to battle somebody. In a couple of months you'll be able to explore the world. In a couple of months, you will have the full release. I think that's just a lot better than just hold on, guys, wait on. Keep holding.
Right.
And for the champions, are are you guys able to like crafting the skills, crafting the talents, special talents, or
Improve them like in certain areas? Yeah, so that's actually a great question. So as of now, they're all immutable stats that don't change, but there's actually a progression system that's going to be launching either this month or early next month called Ruins. So basically, as you fight on your daily sitting goes, you get to accrue Ruins, which will allow you to we're not there yet. Let me play this part real quick, and then we'll ask you a question.
Okay. Doofus is on there. Is he watching? Is he watching or is he playing in this clip? Yes.
Won himself a nice $100 payout with a 1 HP comeback. Was pretty sick a couple nights ago. He was pretty excited about that. But yeah, to answer your question, we'll have Ruins dropping soon, so you'll be able to actually you won't be able to. So there's two things. You won't be able to manipulate the stats of your champion currently, but you'll be able to improve its ability to create better champions when you summon. So summoning is like our breeding mechanic in the Red Village. Basically, you take two champions together and you have an opportunity to create a new champion that is even stronger than its parents. But in addition to that, there's going to be a mode coming this year called Seasons, where essentially everybody starts at 0. So this is independent to the regular tournaments that we run. Everybody starts at 0, and then there'll be different like rules or gameplay mechanics that you can like learn and try to strategize for to like level your champion up in different skill areas like that. So you want to have a balance, right? Because there is an economy here, and you want to have that immutability there so that a champion who got blessed with some really great stats at Mint can hold their value. But you also want to have a mode available where people can start from 0 and just kind of play their way into being a winner. Even if they didn't get lucky at Mint. So TRV is looking to kind of mold those two things together. And
speaking of the economy, what is the initial investment or capital to get started in the Red Village?
Yeah, that's a great question. So currently you can go on Haku, which is our preferred marketplace. As a matter of fact, I can go ahead and show you that right now. All you need in order to play the game is to purchase a TRV champion, our playable character. And the floor for let me go ahead and.
So when you're saying that, are you looking them up by genotype? Are you looking them up by? Okay, got you.
Yeah. So I plan to do a more in-depth stream with you guys once renting goes live that talks about game mechanics and genotype specifically. But kind of like I know a lot of you guys have Z backgrounds. Like it's a similar system here with the Red Village. And then as you have the smaller R number, as we call it, or genotype, that there's going to be a price value slotted next to those, and obviously the champions that are unblooded or haven't fought have a bit of more of a premium. But if we even look at like if we just sort from low, because let's see, so you can get in for 0.02 ETH. Yeah, so you can grab one, and also too, and this is one thing that's important to note as well is TRV. I know I'm biased, right? But TRV is really all about doing things that are really innovative. And one of the things we did during our summoning cycle, or our breeding program, is a buyback program. So one of the cool things about this game is you want to. Each champion has different blood strength. So basically, each champion has a different variable of how well they can pass their traits on to their kids. And so what the team did is they gave an opportunity for everybody to summon unlimitedly, and they would refund the summoning costs if you would donate your champion that you summon to the team as to have a war chest to give away. And then in return for that, players get an opportunity to see how their champions pass on cosmetic traits and stuff like that in order to better learn their champions. The point being is every summoning cycle, TRV is going to be developing growing a war chest of hundreds of these half-blooded champions to give away to communities like CARV. So while there's a low barrier to entry just to buy, our goal and my goal as DCO is to get to the point where we can work with great communities like yourself and get you guys renting, get you guys opportunity to play the game, and then those of you guys who really, really like it, like get you a champ, get you a summoning pair, and then also having new player tournaments where we can give you guys additional champions based on your gameplay to help you build a barracks over time at a very low entry cost.
Got it. So you're looking at one of these potential players, and then you see something like R15 Elf Druid. What does R15 mean?
Right. So the R number is your genotype. So genotypes are they represent two main things. One is how close your champion is to the original bloodline. So our Genesis mint back in November of 21.
So R1 being the closest? Is that how it works?
R1 to R3 is our Genesis mint. R4 to R6 is our Mystic mint, which is our second wave. And then Lionheart and Warlord are 7 through 9 and 10 through 12, which we haven't done yet. So the idea is as we bring more communities like yourself on, increasing demand, then we'll do our third and fourth mint for those other
it is very similar to Zed. Zed is I understand like
you see it, right? Yeah.
And then the other question I have is
sure.
When you're looking at acquiring a player, what's most important? Are you looking at attack stats, financial stats, the 1v1 stats, the wisdom stats, the fun stats? Like what are the ones that are kind of like the most important when you're kind of making that buying decision?
About acquiring a champion? That's a really great question. I would say there's two answers to that. I think it depends on how specific you want to be. So like for example, actually this would be a perfect time if we go to TRV tools. So remember I told you how we had that one battle master who created that third-party tool. So if you let's do like a low-level version and a high-level version. The low-level version, I would say, is to go based on wisdom. Okay. Because while wisdom is not an exact science,
interesting.
While it's not an exact science, it gives you an approximation. And especially if you, because where I see players getting an edge is getting two champions who have at least one or two things going on that's looking really nice, and then putting two champions together to fill each other's gap, and then hopefully creating a new champion and then summoning that can give you an edge versus other players. And so I would say if I were to give like if I were to give a recommendation for someone who's looking to get in at a decent cost, is to go on Haku, and there's different filters that you can do for wisdom. We can do that in another stream, but basically like try to find gems of champions that have good wisdom, but also too like going on, because every champion has a token ID, right? Going on TRV tools and just picking up, like, let's just click on a random champ.
So basically there's like 4 or 3 or 4 signals that you can kind of look at before you make a decision.
It all
I got you.
Yeah, wisdom
I totally
stats,
get you.
It's wisdom stats, and there's sometimes you'll see certain things, right? Because sometimes you'll have a champion that has really great wisdom stats, but then after he reveals like a few levels, he'll go down a little bit. So you don't want to read too much into it. But I'll tell you what, the exact champ doesn't. Let me see if I can find it. But there's a guy. Okay, he came into the community late. His name is Dragon Spaceship. I believe that was him. He came into the game super late. And he picked up a champion off Haku. I think it was for like 0.019 ETH or something like that. And it was very lightly fought, but he went on TRV tools. He looked up the champ. He saw that the damage, he had some really good damage numbers. He picked it up, and it's made him way more than what he bought it for. So like there's definitely, if you're willing to kind of dig through some of the third-party tools, look at like some of the damage numbers, you can find some gems and some really good deals.
No, I totally get you. You know, when I was, and not to stay on Zed, but I remember I picked up a Z7 Buterin,
Yeah.
just for like $300. I mean, that thing's probably made me 3 or 4 ETH lifetime.
Ooh, sheesh.
Yeah, it's
I like that.
and it was just like, and the reason, because you know, when I was talking to Doofy, he's like, look at who the mom was. And the thing was like both of the parents were unraced, so we had no idea if they were good parents or not, right?
Yeah.
So that was the mystery about it all. So clearly they're going to be good racers. They still haven't raced, but because my horse has done so well, anytime those two parents build it, like make an offspring, those horses get snatched up in seconds. Like people, I think, literally have
Right.
like, you know, they're literally like waiting for them, for them to like breed and then quickly pick them off the marketplace. But yeah, those two particular Z1 and Z2s made some pretty badass Z7, Z5s and Z6s and Z7s, and
It's insane,
like I said,
man.
you know, yeah. It's not always about like, oh, let me go blow a bag and just buy the most expensive one, because I did that too. I did that too.
Right. We all have.
I didn't even want to say it. Now I'll say it. I spent like 25 grand on a horse.
Oh man.
And that is it might be my worst horse.
Yeah.
Now it's good for breeding because people want to breed.
Right.
So they want to breed with it because it's a Z1, it's still Genesis, but like, man, like when I bought it, I was like, I'm gonna be a millionaire off this horse.
Yeah, this is gonna be the one to feed. Yeah.
I'm gonna ride it into retirement.
Right. Now we've all been there in one project or another, man. I feel it. But it's so, you make such a good point. Like you can find an edge. We have one community member named Birdseed. She's a school teacher actually. She had one champ, Death Chaser. Let me see if I can bring it up. She had one champ that she had bought a while back for, I don't know, before game even started. I think for maybe 0.02 or 0.4 or something like that. And she bought this champ, ended up running really well. She was able to actually trade it for a quirky, and I think she ended up selling for like 3 ETH. And then she bought back into TRV. Not only did she make some money for herself and her family, she bought back into TRV, got a champion that is arguably just as good, and then she summoned it with 2 rangers that she acquired. And I think the half-lit she made was like the first champion to break 50 elo, the first summon champion to break 50 elo or something like that. Like it's insane. Like there's so many edges for new players to come in and find edges, and
but that's what it's about when, you know, with you know, back to the technical piece, it's like,
yeah,
you know, you want the developers to make a game that's like provably fair.
Right.
And because then
it's
otherwise
so important,
it's like, yeah, like, because that to me is really the part that people don't understand is the technical piece that, you know, all these games should be focusing on, is like making sure that all these games are provably fair, because if there's any kind of like interference or any sort of biasness in the algorithm, the thing is, people are so smart these days with these things, like they exploit it, and then next you know, they'll find it and they'll just keep winning, and you won't know why. You'll be like, what's going on? Why do they keep the same people keep winning? But that's really cool. So I don't want to stay on like the purchasing piece too much, but we can go back a little bit more to the gameplay. But you know, I think that was just something that, you know, as people are trying to get into these games and try to understand like what to look for, and you know, let's be real. You know, I read an article that 90% of crypto wallets have less than 0.15 Ethereum in it.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's
Not huge
that's a lot of
bags.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Which is why people, get so upset or turn on you when you don't hit your roadmap or things
Right.
don't seem right or things seem unfair because they're saying, hey, I only got
They
a
help you
couple
bootstrap.
$100. And,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And and I'm blowing, and it's not being put to good use.
Right, and that's why the buyback program for TRV is so important because it's difficult. Web3 is kind of tricky because it seems like sometimes, with the exception of renting programs, all the good games that are the most interesting. Uh, see you, Bernie. I just saw your message, man. Yeah,
No,
thanks for
man,
tuning, man. Safe travels, brother.
enjoy
Later,
the.
bud.
All right, thank you guys. Yeah.
Uh, all the top games that they feel like they have these huge barriers to entry by payment. Like I remember like seeing BYO pills and I'm just like, oh, that looks so cool. Back maybe like 6 months ago, and I'm like, yeah, I can't afford that set, and it's like,
Yeah, this one set was like 3 ETH.
yeah, man. I'm like, yeah, maybe when I hit the lotto a year from now, I could get in.
And that was like in March, April. So that's when ETH was at 3 or 4K. So that's like
Yup.
10, that's like 10 bands.
Yeah, I was like, that's not the but I
Mm.
think but then when you look at something like Undead Blocks, right, the ability to be able to rent weapons, and be able to split your winnings with whoever owns the assets, like there's opportunities for people to get in and stuff like that. But I think the games that make the barrier to entry as low or close to zero as possible will definitely have an edge, and I see TRV doing
Well,
that.
I actually had a guild of about 300 players who were playing Axie all day during the bull run.
Mhm.
End of 2021 into 2022. Ended up, kind of selling it to another entity, but you know, like for us, it was unfortunate because it wasn't about the gameplay, and
Mm.
quite honestly, like the Axie game itself is, and not to bash on those guys, it just wasn't that fun. It was a very straightforward
Yeah,
game, right?
it was. Yeah,
You
cards.
breeded them, and then you played them, and then you got the SLP, and then that was it.
Right.
So I think a lot of people were in it for the wrong reasons. I think now the guilds have realized that, like, they can ruin economies, or they can imbalance them, and but like they have to understand, like, what value are they truly providing
Yeah.
to this ecosystem, besides just, we don't want them to just be pillagers and just take the bread and run.
Right.
Like, what is their contribution? And their contribution can be that they can test out gameplay, they can test out and give feedback at scale, right?
Right.
And I think, like, that might be one way where they can kind of contribute and not be seen as just people who are just in it for the money,
Extracting
and
max
that's about it.
value. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's kind of the underpinning of the Red Village. The team is very consistent about this being a play and earn game. You come home after work, you run some fights, you play it, and you get a chance to make money. But you're not just here to extract value. And also, 95% of the player base for TRV is North America, Europe, and Australia. Kind of communities that are providing a high lifetime value to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of making that be the foundation, and just creating an atmosphere where people want to spend some money to participate and compete for some ETH, but not just here to extract as much value as possible. And also,
Mm-hmm.
I know you're in San Francisco. What's your basketball team? Are you Warriors or?
No, I'm a Lakers fan,
Oh, then,
unfortunately.
all right, cool. But no, don't say it for. Hey, we got the bubble. We got the bubble. We can't have
We
them
did.
all. I feel it's difficult, right? Because we're so used to it. Because I grew up in the 3P era, so like we're just so used to winning that these times are kind of lean. It's rough, but we'll be back to the promised land. People can hate. That's
I mean, I
okay.
think we get Anthony Davis back before the All-Star break, which should be
Healthy,
good.
yeah.
And we've
Playing
uncovered
tournament.
it. We uncovered a gem and Thomas Bryant. And then, this guy's just been sitting on our bench,
Who
and
we
he's been,
shouldn't have let go ever. By the
yeah,
way,
he's been
yeah.
contributing pretty good minutes. And then there might be a trade at the deadline. I don't know. I think we need another shooter. Maybe like a Buddy Hield would be nice, or even like a Bogdanovich from the Pistons would be nice. Just someone who could just sit in that
Create
corner.
space for LeBron.
Yeah, just sit in that corner and then knock that down. Because right now, we don't know. We don't know who is our knockdown shooter. You couldn't tell me.
Nah,
I couldn't tell
it's just
you.
a bunch of ball handlers.
We don't got one.
Right. Yeah, it's nuts, man. So like one of the things about that's so we saw the 8v8 mode, right? The reason why I bring up basketball is we have a 1v1 mode as well, which we're going to get into.
Oh, nice.
And one of the things we did on our own, the community did this, is we did a 1v1 bracketed tournament. So we took so everyone got an opportunity to enter multiple champs in a 1v bracketed 1v1. So the 1v1 tournament, you can either have it be 1 round, 3 round, or 5, best of 5. And then so we did like a bracketed 1v1 tournament with our champs with like a bracket reveal. And we had like battle cards like the UFC where people could like share on socials and stuff like that, just to make it kind of special. And then we had a 64 seed 1v1 tournament that was for like almost 3 ETH total that we all fought for, which was really fun. I'll play a little bit of clip. So this is our 1v1 mode. And then we'll jump to the last round of this real quick. And it's sick, man. It's like the spectating experience of this game is really dope, especially in the high tension moments when there's stuff down the line. I mean, we've had reverse sweeps where people get into the money coming back being down 0-2. It's like it has a real kind of like NBA playoffs type vibe to it, which is unlike anything we really see in the space right now from a spectating point. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. And another thing about this too is you can actually do pink slip fights, so you can wager your own champions. So we had one guy, Brandino. Man, I think he ended up winning like 30 champs, and I think he was like net 20. Like, so basically, you can toggle on when you sign up for the 1v1s to play for keeps. And it's just like Fast and Furious style. Whoever wins gets the champ. And Matan, our CTO, has talked about in the future, you'll be able to put blood on the line too. So imagine like taking it for Zed, for example, you could take your horse, do a 1v1 versus another, and the winner gets to get a free breed with that horse, like cost free,
that's
right?
Really cool.
Yeah. So the future is the blood to be kind of like a commodity that you can actually trade as an NFT and be a part of the economy. So there's a lot of really dope stuff coming down the pipeline for TRV. Again, we got progression rolling out this month, renting coming soon. And so what I'd love to do over the next few months is just to do more streams with you guys to just further show you guys more gameplay and maybe get you guys some rental champs.
What is it? What about the open? You guys also have an open world, right? Called the Darklands.
Yeah,
what's the latest on that?
Yeah, so Darklands, I'll say the least I can because they're more privy to it than I am, and but based on what I've known so far, what the updates that Lucian has given us, they're working on the it's going to be obviously developed by Blowfish Studios, and originally it was meant to be an action RPG. I think they've adjusted the scope for that a little bit now to make it more of a Diablo x RuneScape x Fortnite type dungeon crawler with some PvP, PvE, kind of like a more drop-in type of thing because it's RPGs, MMORPGs are really tough, and like having people fight for 2 years to level up a champ, that's a big ask, and we see that niche, right? So these guys are really on it, right? So I think it's going to be based on what I know so far, just like a action-packed dark fantasy kind of like drop-in PvP type of deal, high action. But they're keeping that really close to the vest. I think they're almost done with the design of the combat system, and then they're sending that over to Blowfish to kind of to build and iterate on. But they could probably give you more specifics when we have them on in the future, because I know we're all chomping on the bit to know as much about it as we can. But they're keeping it pretty close to the vest, and they like to kind of just work on dope stuff and drop it when they have stuff for it.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's definitely going to be cool, and they're really planning for it to be a high quality AAA experience, and again that free to play aspect to bring as many people in as possible. Yeah. It's a great game. One of the things I wanted to do for you guys as well before we leave is everybody who is in the Discord right now. I want to give you guys an opportunity to get some champs to try the game out a little bit. So what I'd like everybody to do, if you have a MetaMask wallet, is to go to the Red Village website. And let me see if I can shift refresh to show you so I can log out. But it's pretty straightforward. You would just, you click this login button. I think if it's your first time, you might have to do 2 signatures here on your MetaMask. And then you'll have your barracks here. You're going to name your barracks. Name it whatever you want. Try to be creative, something funny, whatever. And then also put your Discord tag here as well so that I can contact you. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to tag me in the Discord at a kid from Compton. I want you to tell me your barracks name once you have it. And then tell me which of these 5 champions, these 5 character classes that you like the most: Wizard, Paladin, Barbarian, Ranger, Druid. I'll be looking at these barracks names very closely. Be clever, be funny, come up with some dope stuff, and we'll sort through the ones that are coolest, and we'll get you guys some champs. And then I talked to Bernie. Once we get closer to renting, we're gonna do another one of these to kind of go over exactly how renting works. See if we can get you guys some champions to try out for free, and get you guys all over to the Red Village. Let's see here. Cool. Yeah, so go ahead and tag me in the Discord with the name of your barracks once you get that set up and which of the 5 champions you want. I'll see you guys in there. And then we'll go ahead tomorrow morning and I'll start going through and we'll put a spreadsheet together to send you out some champs. AO, did you have any other questions for me?
No, I think it's been good. I mean, I like I said, I was learning a lot and asking kind of questions that were kind of coming to the top of my mind. But I think in general, I think it's gonna, I love what you guys have built so far.
Yeah.
We're excited to continue to work with your team. Your team's really lovely, and I think ultimately, we're excited for what's to come for you guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. And we love what you guys are doing, and it's so important to have communities and projects that are focused on community and appreciate the importance of community in this space. And like you were saying when we were talking earlier, like the collaboration aspect is so important, and seeing guys like yourself that are taking that seriously is really dope. And I think TRV and CARV really align a lot, and I'm excited to do more of these with you guys in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. All right. See you guys, everybody. Don't forget to tag me down in the Discord with your barracks name and the champ that you like, the character class. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, everybody.
Be well, everyone. Bye.